bench warmers?
Today is the day you've all been waiting for, and you can already see him on screen here with Mobo. Bobby Crosby is finally in the house.
Hello.
How you doing, Bobby?
Pretty good, Spidey. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Mobo, doing well?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm starstruck right now. I can't believe we got the Bobby Crosby.
Well, yeah, it's about time we've met, Mobo. I mean, we've been acquaintances. We've seen each other before. We've never actually spoken until this moment outside of the camera. On Dodger Films, I talk to you before in a bat sometimes. I'll say, Mobo, you can do something. Other than on camera, we've never actually talked before.
I think I hit, my first walk-off grand slam, and we just shook hands. That was it?
That was it. As soon as the cameras turn off, I'm like, get away from me. Scram, kid.
There's some moments where you've been CGI'd into the episode, too. You're not even there.
Oh, yeah, I know. I live such a busy life, like snowboarding in the Alps and just working on cars in Monaco.
But you're contractually obligated to appear in a certain number of Dodger Films videos per year, so we have to CGI you into there.
I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't talk about it more.
We're gonna see.
Really?
I touched a horse for the first time ever a few days ago. First time
really?
I touched a horse.
Did you go to a petting zoo?
No, it was a fundraiser event for racehorses who have retired from racehorsing, or they just suck and they can't win a race. It's like, scram, kid, like I say to Mobo. And it was to raise money for them to learn how to, go back to school and get their degree and, have a briefcase and, Anyway, so that was the event, and I was nervous to touch a horse because, did you know that horses are, gigantic?
Oh, yeah.
They're, really big.
Feet.
Imagine going next to a Clydesdale. That's, one of the biggest horses.
Yeah, so these were these race horses, and some of them were, pretty large and gigantic. And I'm thinking it's like a big puppy, just like a big dog.
It's going to be all nice.
And sometimes, literally that day, a few days ago, that morning, my dog Hannah accidentally, headbutted me. And, I hurt for, an hour in my face.
Yeah.
So I thought, if this horse headbutts me, my head will be removed from my neck. So I thought, I can't get too close because they might headbutt me.
Oh, you definitely can't get behind them.
The kick is dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then they have these big chompers, these big teeth, these chompers.
They're flat though, right? They're not like...
It's the technical term
their lips.
for a horse's teeth is chompers, if you look in the dictionary. And anyway, so I thought, what if they just bite off, my hand when I go to do a nice little pet? Hey, puppy, good pet. Mm-hmm. And so I was calling all of them puppies, good puppies. So I just kept saying, good puppy, good puppy. And then I finally, at the end of the night, decided to touch a horse. Mm-hmm. This horse named Blaze. It's like, wow, it's like a real living giant. Mm-hmm. End of story.
JT Realmuto hit for the cycle this past week. That's the third this season with Cedric Mullins, and I can't remember who the other one was. Bench is cleared in Arizona against the Phillies also.
No.
Corbin Carroll was hit twice in a game after just winning Player of the Week, and that's all the sports news I got. Now, let's get to the interview here with you, Bobby.
Questions. Everybody wants to know about these, Bobby.
Yes.
First, pretty easy. How did your love for baseball begin? Do you have a moment in your head to where you can call back?
Yeah, that's super easy. Game 1 of the 1988 World Series.
Oh, yes.
So I was already a little bit of a baseball fan, but then October 15, 1988, I'm 7 years old. I get home from school. My dad gets home from work, and he says, hey, I got to hook up. We got 4 tickets for tonight's Game 1 of the World Series. I'm 7. He says, we got to go. There's this gas station outside of the stadium. We're going to meet up with this guy who's going to sell me these 4 tickets, $100 each. It's $400 to get these Game 1. This is one of the best games in the history of baseball. Possibly, in my opinion, it's one of the top 5 greatest sports moments in history. Happens, 4 hours after we're in the gas station. Buy the tickets here. So pretty good deal for $100 each. With inflation, it's more like $400 each. But anyway, still worth it. Yeah. So World Series game, $100 each. And Kirk Gibson, 2 bad legs. He hit a 2-run pinch hit walk-off home run, bottom 9, 2 outs down to our last strike. Vince Scully, incredible call. And I was sitting on the reserve level. That's the big blue level, 3rd level above third base, 5th row, right above the camera well there. So I had a great looking out at the home run, going right out right field, just perfectly in front of me. And my thought was, how cool would it be to catch that ball? So that's what really made me want to catch home runs, and made me a huge Dodgers fan, huge baseball fan.
I had a few questions in between, but since you brought up the catching home runs, I'm going to get to these ones right now. Well, that answered it. What made you start wanting to catch homers? Do you remember your first one? I'm sure you do.
You mean batting practice?
Or just in general, your first home run caught on the fly, BP game, whichever came first.
Right. I think it was September 1995 when I finally caught a batting practice home run after going to... So from 94 to 96, I got about 30 games each, left field pavilion. prior to the year, I picked out like 30 games and went to like 30 games each. And the first like 55 of those games, like 30 and 94, 30 and 95, first like 55 of those games, didn't get a single ball in any way.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going early for BP. For like, imagine going for 50 games for BP, and I was, 13, 14, and not, I was a decent catcher of the ball. Yeah. I just was so unlucky. Just nothing came near me. And, I knew about baseball. I was a huge fan. I was like an expert. I was more of an expert then than I am at any point in my life since then, probably. I was like at my peak of my knowledge about baseball, and I knew every player on every team. I could name you the first and third base coach.
I've literally been telling people from past episodes, in 2007, that's like when I first got into baseball, I could do that same thing.
Yeah.
I could name everyone.
Yeah, I knew everything. I could tell you, top prospects even back then. Anyway, so I know like where to position myself in batting practice for all these players, and just I never even like dropped them. Nothing ever came near me somehow.
Yeah.
In like 50 games. Anyway, long story short, Marquise Grissom. I'm not even sure at this point. It was a batting practice home run. I later caught a Marquise Grissom game home run. So no, I'm confusing him. It wasn't Marquise Grissom. I'm screwing this. Roberto Kelly. Roberto Kelly. Look up Roberto Kelly. I got it. Somebody. It was Roberto Kelly. Dodger outfielder. Anyway, he had the first batting practice home run I caught in 95. I'm pretty sure. Does that make sense? Was he on the Dodgers in 95?
No.
96.
96.
Dodgers 95, but then he was also traded, I believe, to the Nationals that same year, Expos.
It actually might have been when he was on the Expos.
Because you have 95 Dodgers and the 95 Washington right here.
It was Roberto Kelly. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. He might have actually been on the visiting team. Might have been on the Expos.
Yeah.
This is a really boring answer. Sorry for such a boring start to this podcast. Finally caught a BP homer. Took it to school the next day. Showed Fireball. I was in 10th grade at the time.
I can only imagine a wee Fireball being like, "Whoa, Robert!"
Oh yeah. It's like, you finally caught one, Robert. I want Roberto Kelly at it. Your name's kind of Roberto. My grandma used to call me Roberto. I also got my first ever ball I ever got in any way was a toss up from Tom Candiotti, Dodgers knuckleballer pitcher. Threw me a knuckleball. I told him to throw me a knuckleball, and he threw me a knuckleball, and I didn't catch this one. It knuckled way too much. I was in the front row, and it went just barely over the wall, and then I ran down and got it. That was the first ball I ever got in anything.
That reminds me of a toss-up story that happened to Javi at Dodger Stadium. Rich Hill threw him, it had to have been like at least 80 miles an hour, zooming over Javi's head. He didn't even catch it. It was catchable, but he went like, because he didn't expect him to throw an 80-mile-an-hour fastball at him.
Right, crazy. First game home run. May 12, 1998, which is why my email address is BobbyC512. It's from May 12.
No.
That's why. You get those emails every week. We're playing softball. You want to come play softball? Tell me, please, and reply to this email. Raining. Okay. Me and Fireball. Fireball's at this game. And first inning, 3-run home run. Raul Mondesi was my favorite player at the time. Hits it off Curt Schilling in the rain. It's raining pretty hard at this time. And I got to move 10 seats down to my right. I got to go past Fireball somehow, even though I'm a big guy. And there's not much room there in the front row to scoot by him. But somehow I get by him. Fireball never brings a glove. He doesn't care about it. He thinks, even when he was like...
I'm sure it was empty out there with the rain.
Fairly empty, but I had to fight off this gang member for the ball. He was going for it too. He followed right behind me. He got by Fireball too. He almost knifed him on the way by, and then you see his arm going for it. Anyway, but I beat him out. I got a snow cone catch. So I've got 10 game home runs. The first one was a snow cone catch. The last one was a snow cone catch.
Yeah.
I should have had a lot more. I've dropped 4, sadly, and several others that I just misjudged and didn't get to in time.
At least you have ones you can go back on and say you caught, though, unlike Benny, who we had that one in Texas.
Yeah, Benny had a drop. That was a pretty good story. So I was positive Benny was going to catch a home run that day. I gave him the aisle. This is July 2017, just before, a couple days before the All-Star game, All-Star break. And I'm going to all 30 parks, and Benny comes with me to Miami for the All-Star game. And before that, we're in Texas to see a game. I'm going to all 30 parks. That was one of them. And for the previous couple weeks, I had gone to 10 different stadiums, and home runs kept just missing me. Missing me by 10 feet, 15 feet. None that I dropped or had a realistic chance at.
Just out of your range.
Yeah, they were zeroing in on me, and I thought, this is the night, and I thought, but damn it, Benny's here. So I want to give him the aisle because I've caught 10 game home runs, including just two years ago in 2015. So I'm not going to, because the aisle is, and especially at this park and this setup, the aisle had a huge advantage over. Aisle always has a huge advantage because you have running room to move around up and down, blah, blah, blah. So if you're not on the aisle, it has to be right to you, basically, unless you're lucky and there's nobody near you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, long story short, I'm positive he's catching a home run this night. So much so that we rehearse our celebration. And in advance, we rehearse our celebration. I say, right when you catch it, because you're just going to go on the aisle here and catch it, turn around, we're going to shake hands and hug. We're going to do a handshake and then a big hug. Okay? So we're like, okay, yeah, we got it. 20 minutes later, home run directly where I said it was going to go.
Oh, my God.
But he drops it and it goes into the bullpen. So right when he drops it, I realize, like, oh, my God. And then he turns around and we don't do the handshake because there's nothing to, but we hug.
Yeah.
And then, who was in the bullpen? Middleton?
Kenyon Middleton.
Yeah. So Middleton is in the bullpen, Angels reliever.
Yeah.
And he sees me and Benny hugging, and I think he assumed that we were a couple.
No.
And seriously, I think he was certain that, the gay man dropped it, and his partner's with him, and they're sad. He's consoling him. Seriously. And so there's all these kids around. There's all these kids like, ball, Middleton, give me the ball. And Middleton's like, I got to give it to the guy here with his partner.
Yeah.
And so he tosses it to Benny, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Which is heavily why I think he thought we were a couple, and because he's like, oh man, I don't want to be canceled over not giving it to this guy. I don't know. So anyways, he gives it to Benny, and so that was the first game home run Benny ever got. He got it. He didn't catch it, but he got it. And then later he got another one that Middleton didn't have to give to him. Dodgers player for 1 year, a couple years ago. I went to the White Sox. Benny got the first home run he ever hit as a Dodger. 2 years ago, 2021. And then he went to oh my gosh, my brain is.
Yasmani Grandal?
No,
because that was more than 1 year.
Right-handed hitter.
Oh my God.
I'm blanking.
He went to the White Sox, didn't he? Okay, we'll look this up. Point is simply that Benny got another game run ball later, but he still hasn't caught a game run on the fly.
Yeah. Benny also has the worst luck leaving his seat and then a ball.
Well, but can you really call it luck? The problem is, now I can't, I'm not criticizing this much because I love food as well. But is it really bad luck when Benny's just constantly going to get a Dodger dog and a beer? No, it's like, how many at-bats of like Mike Trout has Benny missed because he's not in his seat? How about just be in your seat at the right time, batting?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's certain batters, every team, where you just shouldn't get up at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're talking the Angels, that's Trout, that's Ohtani.
I used to have terrible luck with whenever I'd miss a game, and I didn't miss a whole lot of games back in the late 90s to mid-2010s. It's a weird thing to say, 2010s. We really needed a name for that decade and the decade before. I used to call the 2000s the Donuts.
The Donuts?
And I tried to have it catch on because you got the 0-0. So I called that decade the Donuts, but nobody else did. Anyway, long story short, whenever I missed a game, late 90s, from like 97 to 2015, whenever I missed a game, I'd watch on TV, and you could just hear the ball clang off my seats just every time. Home runs hitting my seats every game I missed. I'm exaggerating, but it was bad.
10 home runs.
10 on the fly.
What is your favorite?
Yeah, it's got to be the last one. Favorite, because Vince Scully talked about it. Learned my name because I had caught 2 in 3 weeks. And so he talked about me from having the camera, filming myself catching, and he talked about me for the Aaron Hill home run May 2nd, 2015, and then May 24, 2015, which Benny wasn't there for because it was his wife's birthday. So he wasn't there for that. But anyway, that was the best one, the final one. It was finally catching a Dodger home run while filming.
Yeah.
And it was a cool snow cone catch, and then
Is that this one right here that's based off of?
Oh, yeah. A close-up of that up there. Yeah, they even made a bobblehead out of it. So yeah, that's got to be my favorite.
Yeah.
And second favorite is the first one. The 2 snow cone catches, and I'm horrible at snow cone catches. I misspoke. I'm not horrible at snow cone catches. I'm horrible at underhand catches.
Yeah.
And they were both underhand catches. Well, actually, just only the last one was underhand. But I was able to catch it because it was a snow cone. Because whenever it actually hits me in the palm, it always bounces out.
Okay.
I just can't quite squeeze it like that. I squeeze at the wrong time. I'm a bad chooser of
That always happens to me in softball.
Yeah.
I'll see it coming down. I'll be like, I got it. And then Bobby just films me perfectly
The funny thing with you in softball, you have the Jeff effect, but fielding. Jeff can't bend his arms when he swings. You can't bend your arm when you field.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
You're the best at the bobbling catches of softballs. They
I
always
love it.
bounce up out of your glove, and then you catch them anyway. You've done that like 4 times.
It's just the easiest thing to just, okay, I got the momentum, here we go.
Yeah, literally. You're always like this. You're like...
You know who I'm amazed that can do it like a perfect basket catch every time somehow is Dustin.
Well,
Right?
No.
Out of nowhere, it'll just fall in his lap.
But not remotely every time.
Are you talking about just
Okay,
the
not-
ones he actually
Yeah,
catches?
Okay, let me rephrase that. The one he actually catches. Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly
Yeah,
good at it.
yeah.
I don't know where you
Okay.
got those.
Yeah. Funny thing
Okay.
I found out
Amazing.
recently, I think this was like 6 months ago, Dustin doesn't know he's bad at catching softballs. Yes, no, I'm also not great. You know, I've had a lot of drops
What do you
myself.
mean? You're
I found
perfect.
out...
Anything hits you, Bobby, gets
No,
picked up.
I wish. Early on, maybe, but I've been horrible at everything involving softball for years now. But first couple of years, I was decent, and then my skills. Anyway, who cares? Talking about Dustin here. So Dustin, you know, again, I'm bad. Just because I say, by the way, this is something people might be interested in, because everybody says. There's lots of comments, not everybody, but lots of comments that say, Bobby, you ever notice how Bobby's such a piece of crap, by the way, because he always complains about, criticizes everyone else's skill when he's the worst one there? If I criticize someone else, that doesn't mean I'm saying that I'm good.
Yeah.
I can be way worse and still criticize someone else. So, I mean, and I am.
Somebody makes a bad play. It's a bad play.
Batting myself last almost every time, by the way. I know I'm a bad hitter. I'm also a bad fielder. But if I say... Dustin fails to catch a ball often, that doesn't mean I'm saying I'm better than you, Dustin. Well, I am at catching, though, a little. But, anyway, but like if Andy drops a ball, I'm not saying I'm better than him at being an outfielder. I'm just saying he messed up that one time.
It's just a fact in
Sometimes
the
it's
moment.
funny. Yeah, it's just a fact in the moment. So anyway, I found out like 6 months ago that Dustin didn't know that he was bad at catching softballs. And yeah, because he really seemed surprised when we were talking about it. He's like, wait, what do you mean? And we're like, what, have you ever watched one of our videos? You drop half the balls that are hit right at you, the easy ones. And he's like, oh, okay.
Just looking at him like it was completely brand new information.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, sorry, but I'm just stating facts. I'm not trying to be mean. We're just talking about how you suck.
I think that's one of the most infuriating moments to me is when I hit a ball to him and he actually catches it.
Same here. Somehow he becomes amazing when I hit the ball to him.
Yeah. You and Fireball have known each other since a young age.
Yes.
Years, right?
And I thought it was high school. It's middle school?
8th grade, so April 5th, 1994 was
wow.
my first day at a new school, Oak Avenue Middle School in Temple City, California. And I just moved from Apple Valley, California. And it was my first day at this new school in the middle of the school year, April. And met him, saw him. I don't think we talked a whole lot that first day, but we became buddies shortly after that. And so I've known him for 29 years, 2 months, and 12 days when this video goes up.
Oh, we're getting to the 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, 30-year anniversary in 10 months.
You guys gonna do anything special?
We're probably gonna
Nice dinner and ball game?
Yeah. We'll go to Outback Steakhouse.
I know he can devour a whole blue onion by himself. I've seen it.
He loves them.
I do remember Fireball when he was on telling us one of his first stories when you two met. He remembers you being in the cafeteria, being the new kid, and drawing comics.
Well, I did draw some of my comics, but I don't think I drew any at school. I had some of the comics with me and gave some away to some of my new friends on that first day of school. So me and my brother have been writing and drawing and publishing comics since we were little kids.
Really?
Since I was 12 and my brother was 15, we started, quote, professionally making comics, printing them in an actual professional manner, having them distributed professionally into comic book shops. Not many comic shops at the time. The first several years, we did not make a profit or anything. It was just a losing venture. But eventually turned into a serious business of making money. Anyway, that first day at school, where I met Fireball, I brought some of the comics that we had just published, as a selling point for my friendship, I guess. It's like, hey, you want to be friends with me? I make comics. Anybody like comics? They're like, what is this crap? What's a comic? It's not 1955. New fat kid.
Wait, what was the comic that like you and your brother first started kind of like?
Well, a bunch of different ones. My brother had his own. I had my own. We never really worked together on collaborating on a comic. We just made our individual comics. Well, back then I had a stupid one called Billy Comics about this kid named Billy. It's about as as boring and stupid as it gets. About this sixth grader named Billy, and he had this bad guy, this villain named Big Bad Mike. Was the bad guy? He had this full beard in like sixth grade, and he was like 6 feet tall, full beard, fat, and just beating people up. And that was Big Bad Mike. So Billy had to negotiate middle school and Big Bad Mike and try to survive.
Fireball told us a memory he shared with you where you had to hop a fence.
Yes.
You landed on the hood of your mom's car.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, so I actually felt really powerful that day, and I felt really strong. No, I'll tell you why. So I had a really big high and a really big low that day.
Okay.
So the big high was we found this little baseball field. We wanted to just find a field to play catch and pitch batting practice to each other, even though we had like 4 baseballs. Like, we couldn't afford to go buy a bunch of like batting practice balls or whatever. So we just, how pathetic is that as a little kid, by the way, when you have like 2 or 3 balls and you want to throw BP, so then you just have to go chase after the balls every 20 seconds. You have to go collect. It's kind of fun though.
Yeah.
But it also just like looking back, like if I imagining doing that now, like we recently had a baseball practice where we only had about 15 baseballs. I wish we had a lot more. I thought I had more boxes. Who cares? But anyway, I hit a ball into like houses.
Yeah.
I hit it over. It was like a super short fence, and we had like 4 baseballs, and like Fireball hit one out, and then I hit one out, and then I think we actually lost all of our baseballs because we only had 3 or 4 and we hit them all out. And anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so powerful. Like I was like 13 and I'm like, I could be in the major leagues one day after this performance today. It's possible,
Just a random scout.
Yeah. And then I realized 10 minutes later when my mom came to pick us up and the gate locked behind us and we couldn't get out, that I'm not even a good enough athlete to like get over this 5-foot fence. So I'm probably not going to make it to the major leagues. But yeah, so it was such a struggle. Fireball like ripped his shirt or his pants or something trying to get over this fence, and then my mom had to drive up right like on the grass to like get close to the fence. So because she thought I was going to like fall and kill myself getting over this fence, you're going to break your neck, blah blah. So then I climbed over somehow, and I remember feeling so out of shape and so out of breath from just trying to climb over like a little 5-foot fence. And I was like, man, I hit that ball, 170 feet, but I'm not going to make it to the major leagues.
Do you have a favorite memory with Fireball pre-YouTube?
Passes together in the mid-90s, and we were 14, 15. We went many times. I can't think of a specific moment right now. Well, maybe this isn't favorite, but just a memory that pops in my head is Disneyland. There was an incredibly attractive young woman. Me and Fireball were like 15. Walking near where they sell those like pickles now, and near the tiki.
Near Indian Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, exactly. And we loved the Indiana Jones ride. So anyway, this incredibly attractive woman walks right by us, huge smile right at me. Mm-hmm. But nice. Fireball disagreed. He thought it was right at him. And so for no reason, for like an hour, we're just like arguing about this. It's like, no, she was looking at me. Yeah. It's like, who cares? She's not going to do anything with us.
She's long gone.
We're 15. She's 25. And our attractiveness level is quite different. And there's no scenario where anything was going to happen. But we're arguing. We're like yelling at each other. And she's looking at me, you jerk. Why don't I go to Disneyland with you, jerk? Yeah, it was bad.
Awesome.
Bad. So,
when did you start YouTube, and what made you want to start doing YouTube?
I saw a video of batting practice in Texas. Josh Hamilton was hitting, and some random guy filmed a home run that Josh Hamilton hit that bounced off the second deck and then went into his glove, and he caught it. You don't even see the ball go into his glove, but you see the hit, and it bounces off the second deck, goes down to the first deck, he catches it. And I thought, what if and he wasn't trying to do that. He wasn't like trying to film himself catch a run. He just randomly had a camera. And I thought, what if someone was on purpose trying to actually get a good shot and film them catching a ball? And so I immediately bought a video camera. I'd always been into movies and TV and having a video camera. I hadn't had one in a while. Like all growing up, I'd always want a video camera and make little movies at home, blah, blah, blah. Me and my brother we had this series called Mega Penguin, where we had this penguin doll and we put a cape on him called a Mega Penguin. I was the sidekick Bob. And we'd do this little TV show. It was actually on local cable access TV.
Oh, really?
In 1993 when I was like 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mega Penguin and Sidekick Bob. We actually might do a cartoon series of it soon. We got a theme song and everything from years ago. Want to hear the theme song?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Okay, I'll forget about that. So anyway, Mega Penguin theme song. So I thought, what if I get a video camera and I try, and at this point I already had season tickets for 11 years. This is May of 2008. May of 2008. 1997 was the first time I brought a video camera to a Dodger game, and I filmed in batting practice a little bit. But for some reason, I wasn't even thinking like I'm going to film myself catch a homer. I was thinking like if a homer goes to me, I'm going to have to set the camera down so I don't like hurt the camera, and then I'm going to have to like. I just took it for like memories and everything, but not specifically with the thought of filming myself catching a homer. I did that in 97 for a few games. Did that in like 03, 04 for a few games. But then when I saw that video on YouTube, that kid in Texas catching the homer, he's like a 20-year-old guy, and remind me to tell you more about that because that's the crazy aspect of this. The guy who was filming that video in Texas, he was then there when I caught my first ever game home run.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, it's the craziest story of all time. It's the craziest story of all time. Buy a camera, bring it to a game. 2 days later, it was May 6th, I saw that video, I think. And then May 8th, I've got the camera already. Amazon, 2 days shipping, I get it. Take it to a game May 8th, first time I ever took it. And then it took me a month and a half to actually get a good shot of filming myself catching a batting practice home run. And it was Torrey Hunter on the day the Angels no-hit the Dodgers and lost.
I was there.
Yeah, there you go. It's crazy. Did you go to batting practice that day?
Probably not. I wasn't fully indulged in being a baseball fan yet.
Well, so batting practice that day, Torrey Hunter hits me this perfect one, and I get a great shot of it going into the glove, and that video went pretty viral. I think it was on, it was some like local news. It was on Best Damn Sports Show, period, that show that was on for a while. Anyway, that was my first video that went pretty viral. Fast forward to a couple of years to finish up the thing about the Texas guy who inspired bringing the camera. May 1st, 2010, Andrew McCutcheon hits me a game home run that I catch on the fly while filming. I had to jump for it, so you don't see a good shot of the ball going in the glove because I'm jumping up for it, so that makes it impossible to get a good shot. But the TV cameras also didn't get a good shot. They never zoomed in far. They were the main camera, that they cut to when you see a home run ball landing. They never even came close to. They were showing like the whole freaking pavilion basically. They didn't zoom in far, and they didn't show a single replay.
Oh,
so even the TV cameras, you barely, you see me jump and catch it, but like pixelated, like barely. You know who got a better shot?
The guy?
Of that catch? The guy who inspired me to bring the camera in the first place. Him and a couple of his friends randomly decided, like the day before, for no reason, they're Rangers fans. Yeah. Let's for no reason go see a Pirates Dodgers game in LA and drive for 13 hours from Texas or whatever the hell.
Dude, that is so fucking
And
random.
they were sitting left of the pavilion. He was 50 feet behind me, halfway up the pavilion, right behind my section, filming it, and got a great shot of it.
Wow.
He got a better shot of me catching it than the TV cameras.
That's insane.
Yeah. So then he sees me. So then that went very viral, even though it would have went way more viral if TV cameras actually got a good shot of the catch, and if I got a good shot because anyway. I'm doing an ESPN interview a few days later, May 4th, 2010, ESPN First Take, doing that live interview there, and that guy's watching that, the Chandler something from Texas, this kid who inspired me to bring the camera, and then he sends me this insane message that I thought was fake. He's like, by the way, because I in that interview, I talk about him. Because I'm asked that same question, well, what made you bring a camera? So on ESPN First Take. So I answered it the same way I did, just now. And he realizes that I'm talking about him. And so he sends me a message and says, hey, not only was I the kid who inspired you to do that, but here's my footage of your catch. I happened to drive in, like that morning just for like no reason. I was like, why did you want to go? He said, we just thought, hey, let's go. The Rangers fan, this Dodgers-Pirates game, first time they've ever been to California. Yeah. They're like 23 or whatever.
I'm actually like dumbfounded right now. I have
No, it's the craziest thing of all time. It's the craziest.
That's creepy, but it's so you can't make it up.
No.
You really can't make that shit up.
I was certain he was lying until I saw the video. I'm like, oh, okay.
Did he just randomly email you?
Yeah, it was a direct message on
Instagram?
YouTube, a private message on YouTube. Yeah, so I look at that video that he posted of my catch, and then I look at his other videos, and I see his most popular one is the video of the Josh Hamilton catch one. So that's him. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's the craziest thing of all time.
That's just like the planets aligning. Like the universe was saying something that.
Well, you never know. Like if I didn't catch that ball, maybe everybody would be dead on Earth.
It was just burning. The sun exploded.
Well, the butterfly effect, every little
prevented.
change.
When you started YouTube, what was the moment where you realized like, oh, this is getting serious, and you started taking it more serious?
Did you ever feel like you got that aha moment, or was it just very casual for you from the beginning?
Well, there were different stages of it. So the early stuff at Dodger Stadium was all just fun. There was no money, and it kind of very slowly built up. Like after let's see, I hit 10,000 subscribers after 5 years of it. So it's like 5 years. You guys just hit 3,000 subscribers on this podcast channel after a few months.
Yeah.
For me, my first few months, I think I had, 80 subscribers or something, and then obviously Spidey's got, 250,000 or so subscribers now. And anyway, to answer the question, aha moment, really, it was so gradual early on with the early Dodger Stadium stuff that there wasn't really any aha moment for that. In terms of aha moment, it's more about gaming videos and softball later on after the Dodger Stadium stuff, where it started to have such a huge skyrocketing of views at a specific time. The Dodger Stadium stuff would be more about just every once in a while a video would go viral.
Yeah.
It was more about viral videos. The softball videos, like essentially none of them have gone viral. And the gaming videos, essentially none of my gaming videos have gone viral. Viral is like everybody's spreading it around.
Yeah,
it's on the news or whatever. And, and I had a lot of that with the Dodger Stadium stuff. I haven't had any of that with softball and gaming stuff, really.
I'm sure you know the exact number or close to it. When we started softball, when I started, I think you were at like 60,000.
A little more. I think it was at about 105.
Okay.
Because I hit 100,000 subscribers just before the old Dodger Stadium videos ended.
Okay.
Just hit 100,000.
Okay.
So, and then I think I got a few thousand more between then and starting softball in, I guess, November. We first started playing. The first time we ever played softball was October 31st, Halloween morning, 2015, but posted it the next day, November 1st.
The Dodger videos ending a reason why you wanted to start the softball games? What was the push for that?
I was on the Dodgers subreddit, our Dodgers, reddit.com. They had a community for Dodgers fans and also for Angels fans. And the Dodgers subreddit and the Angels subreddit would meet up to play softball games. I think I went to 3 of those. 3 or 4 of those in like 2015. And I even posted a video in June of 2015 of just highlights of one of our meetups.
Yeah.
And I was trying to catch a home run over the fence. I mean, I played a little left field too, but then at one point I was like, I'm going to try to catch a home run in softball.
I think I've seen a clip from that video. You're in left field, right? Beyond the fence?
Yeah. And I had to run into the street to get away. I never actually caught one home run in that game. But anyway, that got a decent amount of views. And I thought, maybe we should try softball for videos. Me and Benny could get together and play some games and see how that works. So that kind of inspired that. Those Reddit meetup games made me think, let's try that. And my brother had been telling me for years to do gaming videos. My brother had been like imploring me, telling me do gaming videos since like 2008, basically, forever. He said do gaming videos, and I, like most people who have similar stories here, they say, who's going to want to watch me play video games? And so I didn't do that forever, but then started up that in January 2016, just a couple months after softball started, and both of those kind of took off. Sort of the gaming videos kind of took off right away, and then softball took off a couple months later, like in late March, early April. 2016 is when the softball videos really started getting tons of views, and that's kind of when to answer the earlier question about the aha moment, that was basically that moment. Kind of like 1 week. It was the end of March, early April. I put out, I think, 5 softball videos in 5 days to end the first off season and start the first on season, and all of those videos got over 1 million views. Not that day, not in one day, but building up. Yeah, but within like 6 weeks, they like all had over 1 million views, and that was kind of the moment of like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Because it was already getting decent views. They were getting like in like early March of like 2016, they were getting like 50,000 views, and then suddenly to get over, and that was like cool, that was great. But then suddenly having to get in the millions, it was like, this is nuts. This is crazy.
Yeah, as the man who records it, edits it, sees all the footage, you probably have tons of memories you could pick from, but what are some of your favorite moments from our softball games, whether it be personally or just moments that were insanely epic that are up there for you?
Gabe's first home run, possibly my favorite. That was just insane. It's crazy how long ago that was now.
I know.
But it felt like there was forever of a build-up to it.
Yes, it did.
But somehow it's already 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago. That was what, October?
He was literally saying that to somebody I think this past week, and they were like, it was not that long ago, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's almost
it was
6 years
though.
ago. October 2017.
Yeah, he was like 11, right?
No, he would have been 12. He would have just been 12.
12.
Yeah, 12 and 2 months.
And when he was talking about it recently, people were saying like, "Oh, you were like decently big back then." But if you watch
Oh my
the
God.
Yeah, so in
remember
6
just-
months, Lumpy's going to be the same age as Gabe was when Gabe.
that's I always use that on Cowboy Jeff because I'm 26 right now, and I'm like, oh man, I'm in the later part of the 20s. But then I look at Cowboy Jeff, and then I'm like, he was this age when he started.
Yeah. yeah. First off-season championship that I won was pretty amazing.
The first championship game ever was just the way Soup pulled off that deke.
Yeah, Punisher. Yeah, a lot of people watching this like, who's Punisher? He played in like 10 games with us, and the first offseason. I got a funny story about that. So he made a bonehead play basically, which a lot of people blame me for. But he made I told him score, you're scoring, but then I changed my mind before he even got to third. I yelled, no, stop.
Yeah.
But then everybody says, Bobby, why'd you send him? But I tried to stop him. But anyway, basically. Long story short, if you haven't seen it, this guy named Punisher looked just like Fireball, basically. Big muscles, strong guy. He made a bonehead play to cost me in extra innings the first championship for the offseason, first ever offseason championship. And Soup made a great play to deke him, to trick him, to make him think that he didn't have the ball when he did. And anyway, every comment on that video, that was back when people used to actually pay attention to things in life, because nowadays everyone like, well, you're watching or listening to this, you're also on TikTok and you're watching an old episode of Breaking Bad or something. You're doing 4 things right now. You know it, right? Tell us in the comments what different things you're doing right now.
Who's the worst offender of that at softball? It's Kershey.
Oh, Kershey's pretty bad. Yeah, Kershey's always doing a million things. So anyway, back then people weren't that bad at such things. Back then people would actually pay attention to something, and so they were actually paying attention to the video they were watching of softball, and there were a trillion comments wanting to murder Punisher for making this bonehead play. People cared about who won the games more back then.
Yeah.
They were either Team Bobby or Team Benny, and they were Team Bobby or Team Benny, for real. They cared. They wanted me to win or they wanted Benny to win. Anyway, so the Team Bobby fans really hated me then. They basically switched their allegiance to Team Benny after that. And they really hated this kid Punisher. He was like 30, who screwed up. And you wouldn't believe the vitriol. That's a great word.
Yeah,
vitriol.
I need that for vocabulary word of the week.
Vitriol, the anger, the hate, the dirty words that were said about Punisher. I had to delete so many comments. And you might be saying, "Oh yeah, I remember." No, you don't remember, because I didn't let them go up. I moderate the comments, and you wouldn't believe how many death threats he got.
Oh my God!
Stop.
Over a softball game. It was like, if I ever see Punisher, he's never going to use his eyes again. He's never going to see anything after that.
Dude.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. So Punisher, he doesn't show up for a few weeks. He missed the next couple weeks, and we thought, he's never showing up again because of the comments,
Yeah.
So then he shows up, and we're like, oh man, sorry about all those comments. He goes, what comments? he didn't watch the video. He didn't know. He just plays for fun. He didn't give a crap. He didn't know about any of the comments.
Yeah.
We told him, and then he never showed up again.
Oh my God.
That's the story of Punisher. He read, and he didn't even get to read the ones I deleted. So it was even worse than you thought, buddy. If you're somehow watching this podcast right now, I don't think he's ever seen a single video of Dodger Films. He just wanted to play softball.
That reminds me of a similar situation when I got hit in the mouth. I was obviously very angry because I just lost 2 teeth. And I picked up a water bottle and I threw it at the bullpen, but Dallas was in the bullpen. Dallas was a young kid back then. He was, I don't know, 8, 9.
Straight up just a wee lad.
Yeah, a baby. And I remember
He was like 7.
him being terrified, and he didn't show up for 2 months.
Because of that.
I don't know if it's because of that. We should have asked him when he was here. But after that, he didn't show up because I was only back a week later or something. And I remember him not being there just forever.
So in your anger, in your rage, your pain, you threw the water bottle at the bullpen, and he was standing right by the
Yeah,
fence.
and I also had the bloody face, ripped open, missing teeth. So
You were
probably
like a monster coming out. Oh my! He's like, is this monster gonna kill me, Mom? I wonder if that's why he was so against hugs. What if you? Because for those who don't know, Dallas hates hugs for years. But then recently, I found out he's okay with them now. I guess because he's 6 feet tall or whatever, he's fine with a hug now. But back when he was a little youngster, Spidey scared the crap out of him and made him hate hugs. It's like the opposite of Olaf.
Has